Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia and today we will be making pandas. These are beginner friendly and are super cute as little desk friends or even as a handmade gift for your friends or partner. So I hope you enjoy this tutorial. So to begin, you will need yarn. For this tutorial, I'm going to be using Chanel yarn, specifically the Premier Yarns Parfait Chunky brand. You are going to need a black and white color for the panda. You will also need pink yarn for the blush, and in the tutorial I will be using pink yarn instead of black just so you can see the stitches better, but feel free to use whatever yarn you have on hand. You will also need a crochet hook. I'm going to be using the 5.5mm hook, a darning needle, stitch markers, scissors, 12mm safety eyes, as well as a 9mm safety nose. If you don't have any safety eyes or nose, you can always just embroider them on. Some stuffing, and then sewing pins. These are just helpful for when we are going to be making the ears. So to begin, you want to start with white yarn, and you can either make a magic circle with 8 single crochets in it, or you can do the method that I like to do, which is the 2-chain method. So to begin, you will want to make a slip knot. So to do that, I like to hold the yarn tail in between my middle and index finger, and then I hold the yarn up using a finger on my right hand, and then I'm going to use my thumb to hold the other side of the yarn in place. So now I can insert my thumb into this gap, twist my left hand, and now I can grab this yarn that's on my index finger and just pull through, and now I have this gap that I can just insert my crochet hook in and then just pull on the yarn tail to tighten it, and now you have your slip knot. So from here you are going to chain 2, so you're going to yarn over and pull through to create your first chain, yarn over again and pull through to create your second chain. You are going to insert your hook into that first chain and do a single crochet. So yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over, and just pull through both loops. And now you have created your very first single crochet. So now you're going to want to mark it using a stitch marker or a bobby pin or whatever you have on hand. And now you're going to repeat those steps. So you're just going to insert your hook into the middle, which is the first chain, yarn under, pull up a loop, so now you have 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through, and you've created your second single crochet. And you're just going to keep going until you have 8 of them. So again, insert your hook into the middle, yarn under, you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through, and now you have 3. So now we have 8 single crochets, and just make sure to count them before moving on to round 2. So you always want to start at your stitch marker. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. You may also notice that you have this hole in the middle, and you can easily fix that by just pulling on the yarn tail. Just like that. So now you have no hole. Now for round 2, we are going to do an increase in every stitch. So an increase is just 2 single crochets in the same stitch. So first remove your stitch marker and insert your hook into that stitch. And then you're going to do a single crochet, so just yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through. And you want to make sure to immediately mark that stitch. And so now you are going to do another single crochet, but in the same stitch you just worked in to complete your first increase. So again, just insert your hook, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through. And just like that, you've completed your first increase. And so for round 2, you're just going to keep doing that until you reach the stitch marker. So again, to do an increase, you're just going to insert your hook into the next stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop, and then yarn over. And now you're going to work in that same stitch to do your second single crochet, yarn under, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through. And now you've completed your second increase. Once you have reached the stitch marker, you know you have completed the round. So just make sure you have 16 stitches before moving on to round 3. For round 3, you will want to do a single crochet followed by an increase. So first remove the stitch marker and do a single crochet into that stitch. And just make sure to mark it so that you know where the beginning of the round is. And now you're going to do an increase into the next stitch. So again, an increase is just 2 single crochets in the same stitch. Just like that. So now you should have 3 single crochets. And so now you are just going to repeat this pattern. So into the next stitch, we're just going to do 1 single crochet. And then to the next stitch, we're going to do an increase. Just like that. So one more time. We're going to do 1 single crochet followed by an increase. And you're just going to keep doing that until you reach the stitch marker. So once you reach the stitch marker, you have finished round 3. So just make sure you have a total of 24 stitches before moving on to round 4. And just make sure it looks something like this, just like a flat circle for right now. And so now for rounds 4 through 7, you're going to do a single crochet into each stitch for a total of 24 stitches for each round. So just remove the stitch marker and do a single crochet into that stitch, and then make sure to mark it. And so now you are going to continue doing single crochets into each stitch all around. So into the next stitch, you'll do a single crochet, and then into the stitch after that, and you're just going to keep going until you reach the stitch marker. So once you finish round 4, this is what your work should look like. And so now you're going to continue doing 24 single crochets for rounds 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to meet you guys at the end of round 7. So before you finish round 7, you will want to pause right before the last stitch of the round, because for round 8, we want to use a different color. So we have to do a color change in that last stitch. And in order to do a color change, you basically follow the same steps as if you were going to do a single crochet. So you would insert your hook into the stitch, yarn under, and pull up a loop. And now that you have these 2 loops, you can attach your new color of yarn. So you can just wrap it around your hook and then just pull it through those 2 loops. So now we can begin round 8, which is going to be 6 single crochets followed by a bobble stitch, 10 single crochets, another bobble stitch, and we're going to finish off with 6 single crochets for a total of 24 stitches in the end. So like usual, just remove your stitch marker and do your first single crochet, and it should be in a new color, and just make sure to mark it. And now you can continue on to do 5 more single crochets before you do your bobble stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So to do a bobble stitch, you start off by yarning over, inserting your hook into the next stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop, and now you have 3 loops, so you're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. And you should have 2 loops on your hook at the end. So again, you're just going to yarn over, insert your hook into the same stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop, and you're just going to yarn over and pull through only the first 2 loops. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to repeat the same process, so yarn over, insert your hook, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through only the first 2 loops. So now you have 4 loops, so we're going to do it one more time because we want 5 loops in total. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn under, and then yarn over and pull through the first 2. And now that we have 5 loops on our hook, we can just yarn over and pull through those 5. And we've created our first bobble stitch. So now you're going to do 10 more single crochets before our next bobble stitch. So into the next stitch, we do our first single crochet. And now we can continue. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now into the next stitch, we are going to do another bobble stitch. So again, to do a bobble stitch, you yarn over first, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops, so you're just going to yarn over and pull through only the first 2. And now you're just going to yarn over again, insert your hook, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through only the first 2 loops. Now you have a total of 3. Yarn over, insert, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first 2. We have 4 loops on our hook, so we have to do it one more time. So yarn over, pull up a loop, and just like that, we now have 5 loops on our hook, so we can just yarn over and pull through all 5 of those to finish our second bobble stitch. And now we're just going to finish off the round with 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. So this is what your work should look like at the end of round 8. And if you feel like your bobble stitches aren't really symmetrical, you might just need to shift them 1 or 2 stitches to the left or right. And then once you're happy with how your bobble stitches look and you feel like they're symmetrical, you can move on to round 9. So just make sure you also have 24 stitches before moving on to round 9. And for round 9, we are going to do 2 single crochets followed by an increase. So like normal, just remove your stitch marker, do your first single crochet of the round, and make sure to mark it. And now you're going to do 1 more single crochet into the next stitch. And now that you have 2 single crochets, you are going to do an increase, and an increase is just 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So here's the first single crochet, and then into the same stitch we're going to do another single crochet. And now we've completed our increase. And now you're just going to repeat this. So again, 1 single crochet, and then to the next stitch you'll do 1 more single crochet, and then you're going to do an increase. So again, before you finish round 9, you're going to want to pause right before the last stitch so that you can do a color change, because we want to go back to using white for round 10. So if you did everything correctly, you're going to do an increase in the last stitch. So you will do your first single crochet like normal, and then for your second single crochet you will do a color change. So you're just going to insert your hook into the last stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop, and then you can just grab your white yarn that should still be attached to your body, wrap it around your hook, and just pull that through. So now for round 10, you're going to begin with white yarn. So for round 10, we are going to do single crochets all around for a total of 32 stitches at the end. So like usual, just remove your stitch marker and place your first single crochet, and it should be in a different color. Make sure to mark it, and then you're just gonna keep going with single crochets, and you're going to do this for rounds 11, 12, and 13 as well. So I'm just going to meet you guys at the end of round 13. So now that we have completed round 13, this is what you want your panda to be looking like. And so now we can move on to round 14, where we are going to do 13 single crochets, followed by a bobble stitch in a different color. And then we're going to do 8 more single crochets, followed by another bobble stitch. And then to finish off the round, we are going to do 9 single crochets. So to begin, you are going to take off your stitch marker and do 1 single crochet. Make sure to mark it. And now we are going to do 12 more single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So we should have a total of 12 single crochets right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We want to do the bobble stitch in a different color, so we have to do a color change in this 13th stitch. So again, to do a color change, we just insert our hook into the stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop, and then when we have 2 loops, we can come and grab our pink yarn that should still be attached to the body, and then we can just pull that new yarn color through our 2 loops, just like that. So now when we do the bobble stitch in the next color, it's going to be pink instead of white. So to do a bobble stitch, we start off by yarning over, inserting our hook to the next stitch, yarning under, and then we pull up a loop. So now we can yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and we're just going to keep repeating that until we have 5 loops on our crochet hook. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through only the first 2 loops, just like that. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn under, and then yarn over and pull through the first 2. So now we have 4 loops, so we'll do it one more time so that we can get our 5th loop. And now we have 5 loops. So now that we have 5 loops, we can grab our white yarn because we want our next stitch to be white and not pink. So we're gonna grab our white yarn, attach it to our hook, and just pull it through the 5 loops, just like that. And so now we are going to do 8 single crochets before we do another bobble stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so again, we want our bobble stitch to be pink, so we are going to do a color change in the 8th single crochet that we're gonna do. So just insert your hook, yarn under, pull up a loop, and now you can grab your pink yarn again and just pull it through the 2 loops, just like that. So now we can do our second bobble stitch. So we start off by yarning over, inserting our hook into the next stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first 2, yarn over again, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through only the first 2. And just keep doing that until you get 5 loops. So we have 4, so we have to do it one more time. And now we have 5. And if you feel like this loop, your last loop right here, is kind of loose, you can always pull on the yarn so that it's a little more tight. Again, we're going to want to grab our white yarn because we want our next stitch to be white. So it's just attach it to your hook and then pull that yarn, new yarn color through all 5 loops, just like that. And now you can finish off the round with 9 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So once you finish round 14, this is what your panda should look like. Don't forget to pop your bobble stitches out to create the feet. And so now we are done using pink yarn, so we can just cut the yarn. Make sure to leave a decent yarn tail so that we can secure it. So once you have your tail, I just like to grab a random piece from the inside and just tie a knot. Just like that. Make sure to not make it too tight. There we go. And then I like to just stuff everything back in the body. So just make sure you have 32 single crochets before moving on to round 15. And once you're ready, we are going to start round 15, which is 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. So we begin by taking off our stitch marker and doing our first single crochet. Make sure to mark it. And now we're going to do one more single crochet in the next stitch. And now we are going to do a decrease. So a decrease is just grabbing the front loops of the next stitch as well as the stitch after that. So again, just the front loop. You may need to use your fingernail. And then you're going to grab the front loop of the stitch after that one. So you should have 3 loops on your hook. And then you're going to yarn under and pull through both of those front loops. And then you're going to yarn over and just pull through the last 2 loops. Just like that. And you've created your very first decrease. So again, just 2 single crochets followed by a decrease. So this is the first one. The second single crochet. And now a decrease, which is just grabbing the front loop of the next stitch and the front loop of the stitch after that one. And then yarning under, pulling through those front loops, and then yarning over and just pulling through those 2 loops. And you're just going to keep repeating that pattern until you reach the stitch marker. So once you reach the stitch marker, you know you've completed round 15, so we can start round 16, which is just going to be a single crochet followed by a decrease. So remove the stitch marker, do 1 single crochet, make sure to mark it. So just grab those front loops yarn under and pull through those front loops to pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. And now you can just repeat that. So we're going to do 1 single crochet and then another decrease. And you'll just keep doing that for round 16. So once you finish round 16, you should notice that the opening of the body is getting smaller, which is exactly what we want. And so now we are going to add eyes and a nose. So I like to insert the eyes between rounds 4 and 5. So you're going to start at the top. So this is round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, and round 5. So I'm going to insert the eyes in between here. So I'm going to insert my first eye right here, and then the next one right here. And you want to have about 4 stitches in between the eyes. So this is stitch 1, stitch 2, stitch 3, and then stitch 4. But just try your best to get it symmetrical. Then for the nose, I'm going to also insert that between rounds 4 and 5. So I'm just going to try to align it as best as I can in between the eyes, just like that. We are also now going to start stuffing the body. So just grab what stuffing you have and just start stuffing the body. So once you've stuffed the body, this is what your panda should look like. And so now we can begin round 17, which is just going to be decreases all around. So to start, you're going to remove your stitch marker and just grab the front loop of that stitch as well as the stitch after that. And now you're just going to yarn under, pull through those front loops, then yarn over and pull through those 2 loops to create your first decrease. And you're just going to want to mark it immediately. And now you're just going to keep doing decreases all around. So once you finish round 17, you should still have a small gap left that we're going to sew closed. So you're going to want to fasten off. So just pull on your hook and then make sure to cut a decent tail off so that we have enough yarn to sew the hole closed. So just like that. And so now you're just going to pull on your yarn, just like so. So it should look something like this. Now just grab your sewing needle and just attach your yarn, just like that. And now you can remove your stitch marker because we won't need it anymore. And so the way I'm going to close this gap shut is I'm going to insert my sewing needle into the next stitch. And then I'm also from the inside going to insert my needle into the stitch after that. And I'm just going to pull the yarn through. So again, just find the next stitch and then the stitch after that. And I'm just gonna pull. And I'm gonna keep doing that until the hole is closed. So this is what it should look like after you sewed the hole shut. And so now I'm just going to hide the yarn tail. So I'm just going to go through where the yarn is coming from and just come through a random stitch in the body. Just like so. And then I'm just gonna pull the yarn. Just like that. And so I'm just gonna do that a few more times until I feel like this yarn tail is secure and not going to come out. I'm just gonna cut the yarn tail short and just stuff it into the body to hide it. So once you've hit the tail, you are officially done with the body of the panda, and we can move on to the ears. So you will first insert your hook in between rounds 2 and 3. So this is round 1, 2, and 3. So I put my first pin right here. And then you're going to also insert your hook in between rounds 3 and 4. So I placed my second pin right here. And this is just to help keep things symmetrical. So once you're ready, you're going to want to grab your hook and just insert your hook under the stitch where the pin is, just like so. And so now you can remove the pin, and now you can grab your other yarn color and just attach it to your hook and just pull it through that stitch, just like that. And you're going to want to leave a long yarn tail for later. So now that you have your yarn attached, you are going to want to chain one. So you're just going to yarn over and pull through, just like that. And then you're going to want to do a double crochet. So a double crochet is just you yarning over, inserting your hook into the same stitch where you first inserted your hook, just like that. And then you're going to yarn under and pull through that stitch. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. So you're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2, just like that. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through these last 2 loops, just like that. And you've created your double crochet. So next we are going to do a double crochet in the stitch that is in between rounds 3 and 4. So again, you're just going to want to start by yarning over like so, and then you're going to insert your hook under where the pin is and just take out the pin. And now you can just yarn under and pull through the stitch so that you have 3 loops on your hook. Then you can yarn over and pull through the first 2, and now you have 2 loops left. So now you can just yarn over and pull through these last 2, just like that. And so now you want to fasten off. So you're going to want to leave a long yarn tail, so you're just gonna cut the yarn like that and pull on the yarn so that you get your tail. So now you have 2 yarn tails, and you're going to use your sewing needle to pull both tails out into a stitch of your choice. So first just attach your sewing needle, and then you're going to want to insert your needle near the ears and just pull out into a stitch of your choice, just like that. And you're going to repeat this with the other yarn tail. So again, just attach your needle to the other tail, insert your needle near the ears, and just pull out through the stitch where your other yarn tail is, just like that. And your ear should look something like this. And now you're just going to tie a knot using the 2 yarn tails. And now you're just going to hide the knot inside the body. So now once you're done hiding the tails, this is what your ear should look like. And now we are going to do the other side and just repeat the same steps. So again, you're just going to insert your hook in between rounds 2 and 3 where the sewing pin is. So just insert it under and pull up the stitch. And now you can remove the pin, and you can just attach your yarn color to your hook and just pull that through, just like so. Again, you want to leave a long yarn tail. And now you are going to chain 1. So you're going to yarn over and pull through. And now you are going to do a double crochet. So again, how you do a double crochet is you just yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn under and pull through. So you have 3 loops on your hook. And now you're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 only. You still have 2 loops left, so you're just going to yarn over again and pull through those 2. Just like that. Now we are going to continue with a double crochet, but this time in between rounds 3 and 4. So you're going to want to yarn over and then insert your hook under the stitch where the sewing pin is, and you can remove it. And then you're going to yarn under and pull through that stitch, so you have 3 loops again. Yarn over, pull through the first 2, and now that you have 2 loops, you're just gonna yarn over and pull through those 2. And so now you're just going to fasten off, so just pull on your hook and grab your scissors and make sure to leave a long yarn tail. And I'll just pull on the yarn. So now you have 2 yarn tails, and you're going to use a sewing needle to pull both tails out into a stitch of your choice. So just attach your sewing needle and then insert it near the ears, and then just pull out into a random stitch. Just like that. And then repeat the same process for the other yarn tail. So just attach your needle and insert it near the ears and pull through where you pulled out the other tail. So now you can just tie a knot to secure the tails in place. And you're just going to hide it inside the body. So once you hide the knot, this is what your ears should look like. So now we are going to add blush to our panda. So just thread your needle with some pink yarn, and then you're going to insert your needle in a random place and just come up through where you want the right side of your blush to be. And so I want it right there. Then pull, and then you're just going to go 1 stitch over to get the left side of your blush, and you're just going to pop out through where you want the left side of your other blush to be. So in my case, this is where I want it. So again, I'm going to insert right here and then come up through where I want my other blush to start and just pull. Make sure to not pull too tight so that your blush doesn't disappear into the body. So again, I'm just going to go 1 stitch over, and then I'm going to come back through where we started. So I'm going to insert my needle right here and then come back through where we started. And then I'm just going to pull. Again, not too tightly because we don't want our blush to disappear. Just like that. Now you can cut your yarn. And now you can just tie a knot and just hide it within the body. And now this is what your blush should look like. If you want, you can fluff it up a little bit more by just inserting your needle under the blush. Just like that. And this is what your blush should look like at the end. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know what you would like to see next, and don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and like this video. It really helps the channel out, and I hope to see you in the next video.